The stars are bright, we own the night. The stars are bright, we own. The stars are bright, we own the night. The stars are bright, we own. The
Hello, everyone. Hopefully, everybody can hear me. Okay, happy Good Friday. You know I love a Good Friday. So, we're gonna get ready to start. We have a wonderful guest today. We have Tasha White, who is, hold on, let me get all my notes. I need everything in front of me. Who is a survivor of Myasthenia Gravis. Okay, so I know that's a mouthful, okay, because I had to actually look it up how to pronounce it. So we're going to hear a little bit more from Tasha in terms of what this disease that she's been living with and all of that good stuff. So welcome everyone to another episode of No Better Time Than the Present. And we're going to dive right in. Okay, so this evening we're going to have a conversation with Tasha White, who has lived with Myasthenia Gravis for 30 years. Okay, she was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, and is the mother of one teenage son. Tasha has accomplished many things against a lot of odds, and from her hospital bed, using her life as a platform. She shares her myasthenia gravis experiences through her patient leader advocacy work. Okay, so we're going to get this conversation started. As I've told a lot of people, we've kind of built in giving you a little bit more about the conversation before we have a discussion with our guest. Okay, so what is myasthenia gravis? This is a chronic neuromuscular disease that causes weakness in voluntary muscles. Myasthenia gravis is an autoimmune disease, which means that the body's defense system mistakenly attacks healthy cells or proteins that are needed for normal functions. Okay, so some of the symptoms would include weakness of the eye muscle, drooping of one or both eyelids, blurred or double vision, changes in your facial expression, difficulty swallowing, shortness of breath, impaired speech, weakness, and so forth. Myasthenia gravis affects both men as well as women and occurs across all of racial and ethnic groups. This is something we can have a conversation more with Tasha in terms of the causes of this. When I did my research, that didn't really come out as to what is the cause. However, it did suggest that there's an error in how the nerve signals are sent to the muscles, specifically when communication between the nerve and muscle is interrupted at the neuromuscular junction. Okay, so how do you know? Okay, There's a variety of physical and neurological exams that a doctor would do. First, to include review your medical history, do a physical exam. In regards to the neurological aspect, they would check your coordination, your sense of touch, your eye movements. Then there's also an electrodiagnostic, okay, test that includes nerve stimulation. Lastly, there would be a blood test. People living with myasthenia gravis may have abnormal elevated levels. And so you have it.
Same to you.
Thank you for having a conversation with me this evening. Happy Good Friday. Happy Easter coming up. So I have a good bit of questions. You know, I spoke a little bit about this condition, and I want you to tell me a little bit about your story as you have been living with this for 30 years. So I would love to hear further about that.
Okay. So I got my diagnosis when I was 6 years old. Um, I have this real faint memory of being outside playing with the kids in the neighborhood, and all of a sudden my body just gave out. Um, it was a stop sign and a fire hydrant by me, and I literally had to use that to pull myself up. But over time, I guess my mom noticed some different things about me. Most kids around 4, 5, 6 years old or, energetic, playing outside, rolling around. I mean, just doing everything. But that wasn't me. She was, when I talked to her about it coming up, she always said that it looked like I was always tired and I would be off, laying down or something like that. So I guess it got to the point where it became a very big concern for her because I wasn't that typical little kid, that's supposed to be outside playing with everybody. So I believe my diagnosis came extremely fast because I tested positive for the antibodies for myasthenia gravis.
Wow. So I can imagine, especially as a young child, right? You don't really understand what's going on. And to take this condition from youth, child, to adult. So, how has this been for you as an adult?
To be truthfully honest, as I got older and my mom started, teaching me things, I got a bit of a bonus with dealing with this because my aunt, who actually recently passed in this past January, had myasthenia gravis also. So not only did I have the doctors, I had my own inside man to help me navigate and help my mom navigate through this. So so one of the surgery that a lot of us have is called a thymectomy, where our thymus gland is removed. It's believed that it plays a really major role in the I say the activity of myasthenia gravis. So honestly, from that point, having a thymectomy and up until I believe September 2015, I went over 22 years in remission with this disease. So what you may, and I always tell people, what you may read about myasthenia gravis online and the textbook information, I did not experience. I could say for myself 98% of it.
Wow.
So the thymectomy was one of the best decisions my mom could ever, make for me. My dad couldn't even, you know, pronounce myasthenia gravis, let alone try to figure out what what to do about it. But yeah, so I didn't experience a lot of the things that you may see or the things that I may share, um, you know, on my page, and I'm forever grateful for just that alone, and in my understanding of my self understanding. I think that because I was diagnosed so young and I was able to get that surgery young, um, it did wonders for me. I was able to be med free, um, participate a lot more in school, run around with my friends. But I still made sure that I sat down to catch my breath or just to relax and not overdo it. So I knew my limits as a kid, and then after that trigger that I had in 2015, I had to learn myself out of remission.
Mm, mm, mm. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
One thing, it's funny. One thing that you mentioned, a lot of the experiences, or a lot of what they state that you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be that. I think with a lot of these conditions, I always find it remarkable that a lot of people don't go through that same journey
Mm-hmm.
necessarily, So how, how does fatigue play is day to day, in terms of you living with this? Like, do you have like days where it's a little off? Like, walk us through.
So when I like I said, I had to figure out who I was out of remission in 2015. So I didn't know what. So my trigger was heat, and my frustration and drama levels were activated. I'll say that I was in a situation where um, dealing with a business matter, and I got what they say, my feathers was ruffled, and it
Right.
really got me to the point where I was mad, and I didn't know that that was a trigger. I didn't know that my emotions was our emotions are literally tied into this. So, but at that time I didn't know. So,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't my so in the textbook you get you read, the fatigue of the limbs and things like this. Some people may fall. I didn't get that. So I became sluggish. So I moved slow. Um, my symptoms are a headache or a migraine. Of course, the droopy eye, that was another thing that my mom spotted when I was a kid. And
Right.
then, which is really unique and funny to me, my lips and my tongue tingle. So,
Oh.
like up under your chin, I know when my MG is active because up under here it gets heavy. And when it's extremely active, that's when my lips and my tongue start tingling. So my doctor kind of laughs at me when I say that, but that's how I know that my symptoms are completely not in the textbook readings that you may go over, but I don't have the complete um, fatigue where the body goes limp or anything like that, but I have seen it. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
it. So um, I seen it as a child, and it was really scary. And I was like, well, you know what? I never want to, experience anything like that. And thank God that I haven't. But like now, I have a symptom. I have treatment soon that's going to help me with that, but I have to make it to that treatment. So as of like right now, I don't, overdo anything, daily chores and things like that. I do have a caregiver that helps me throughout the week, and that helps me navigate through the day. I'm also a parent, which I have to have all the energy in the world because I have a son who's almost 16.
Right.
So when those symptoms start to come, and he knows off, like literally, he can look at me and say, you know what, mama, go lay down. I don't
Mm-hmm.
even know. I can't, well, like, I can look at myself in the mirror and I don't see what him or my mom sees. So when they tell me that, that means, okay, something's getting ready to happen. And it's usually a headache, which I actually have now. So that's one of my symptoms, which means in a few hours I'll be asleep to get that
Right,
under
right.
control. But yeah, so my symptoms are really crazy and unique. So I don't really deal with a bunch of fatigue or anything like that, which is great. So
That's good. It's okay. So first, I want to say it's wonderful when we have a partner who can pick up the slack, if you will.
hmm
You know, they may see things that we don't see. So that's like great that you have your mom and your son, you know, and though he's young, right, you're getting him ready to be um, responsible, you know, and responsible as to help with mom and to, you know, push through. So that's like a
yeah.
wonderful thing when you have like a team, because I know unfortunately a lot of people don't have that backing. So that's
hmm
a good
I,
thing.
I
Now,
always tell people how fortunate, because in our community, the support is so, is not, it's so scarce. And I always, you know, tell my family, like, I sincerely love you all because all of the support that I get, I see so many that don't, and it's all of this stuff is definitely it takes a toll on our mental health. And when you have that support, you're able to move a little bit better, you know, navigating through your journey, whatever you're experiencing, not just you know, signaling out just MG, but everybody.
right, I totally agree. Um, that's like a whole conversation when it comes to, you know, your team. You know, I
hmm
usually say within a multiple myeloma realm, like my squad, you know, people who can relate to what you have going on, even though our care partners don't really understand the logistics of what you're going through, but at least have your back when they see something is going, you know, something is happening. So I kind
Absolutely.
of want to go back a little bit because I know you
hmm
mentioned you didn't really have like the signs of what is typical when you know read about, just as I did read about some of a lot of the symptoms that come with this. What
hmm
is one symptom that you do have, even though you don't have like the whole textbook of all of them, but what is one that you can do without in this journey?
The droopy eye is always like the one that I have, and I think now sometimes I can see that if I pay attention to myself, which I don't sometimes. Um, I have had slurred speech before, but it wasn't to the point where it was severe. It was very mild, and that's when the tingling of the lips and the tongue started. But other than that, I don't really have those symptoms. Again, I'm sluggish, and it's the migraines, and the migraines are so horrible.
Wow.
But and, and my other symptom is insomnia. I have a horrible sleeping pattern, and it's not just it's so many others that experience that as well. I can I remember in a 7 day span, I think I had maybe 32 hours of sleep, and I was functioning like nothing happened, you know, just every day was just, I was just going
Wow.
until I crashed and I slept. I think I slept like maybe 14, 15 hours.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's intense right there.
It's scary because I'm literally just functioning. I got my son. He was a little younger.
Hmm.
And yeah, I drive and all of that. And I literally just my body was like, you know what? Nah, we're not gonna do this. And I slept for about 14, 15 hours. I only got up to take a shower and I didn't even eat. I slept. That was it.
It's funny for those who are joining. We're talking about myasthenia gravis. It's funny when I was researching a little bit more about this, it just opened up this conversation that I've had before, how unique our bodies are, like what our makeup is
Yeah.
to get this engine running. And I think a lot of us sometimes, which is understandably, we take it for granted, you know.
Yeah.
We just kind of just assume everything's gonna run, but to like really understand our bodies, is very interesting. So,
Yeah, you really have to pay attention to yourself and all these years, I know myself in two different ways. But I still, even outside of my out being out of remission, I still try to push myself even past my
mhm,
limit. Because that's what I was used to. I didn't know anything else to do but just live out loud.
right. That's I think that's what we all try to do.
Yeah,
Just hope God is pushing us through. Okay,
absolutely.
because let me tell you, sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes you feel like maybe there is this other power, right?
Hmm.
For us to kind of, we're still at it. We're still moving. We're still doing what we got to do. So based on, is clearly you have like a effective and great team, that work with you, that love you and care for you. So for people who are not really privy to what you have going on, for the people that you meet, are they receptive in learning about this condition? And if so, what is a question they ask to try to understand it?
Yes, I meet some that are new to this. And another word we use veterans in this. And the one question that I see a lot, have been asked a lot, will I ever be normal again? Um, and I had to before I ever respond to that, I have to sit, I have to think, I have to really strategically put my words together. Um, but I always ask them, what do you think normal is? How do you define normal?
Mhm.
Um, and they tell me, in their own words, they just want to get back to what they were doing before. And I ask it, my next question would always be, um, did someone tell you that you wouldn't be able to get back to that? And
Mhm.
that's when, I think that's like my icebreaker right there. And so that's when those conversations get a little bit more in depth. Um, I always make sure when I say, when I'm speaking to someone, when I'm sharing information and things like that, always everything that you do, celebrate it, no matter if it's small, no matter if it's big. Only only you can control this. You don't have to let it control you. So if you used to, for exercise, walk or whatever, um, you can get back to it. You have to be able to trust yourself and know, you know what, I can do this. I'm not gonna let this, you know, I just basically you just readjusting some stuff in your life. But my auntie told me, whatever it is that you want to do it. You know your limits, you know what you have to do, you know how myasthenia is. And from that point on, I literally do what I want to do. Do I do it in moderation? Sometimes, yeah. But other times I just go for it. I am full throttle because in my mind and just looking at the world today, we only have one life to live. Never, and I'm not minimizing um MG or anything like that. I control it.
Right.
I don't want it to control me because if I let it control me, then me being me, I will isolate myself, and that's just something that I don't want to do because I know my personality. And my personality now with everything going on is big. I was always reserved and quiet, but now I'm not. I'm bold and I'm out with it. I'm an open book now. I've never been an open book.
Right.
Especially coming talking about my life and my health journey. I have friends that I've known since kindergarten and first grade. They never knew until I went
Mm-hmm.
public. And they, the calls, the texts, well, why didn't you tell me? I didn't even know how to say it when I was that age.
Right.
So, and then plus it's a mood killer. I'm not trying to kill the mood. I'm trying to go play kickball.
Right.
So I, yeah, I never thought that I wasn't normal. I never thought that I was limited, and my mom made sure that I was a kid. I did kid things. After we got the diagnosis and all of that, I'm running up and down the street with my friends. After I, healed and all of that, played kickball and all of that. So I just really try to reiterate you can do whatever it is that you want to do. Just know your limits, test yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to your doctor, journal, write things down every day. How you feel when you get up in the morning on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Is it different from the first week or is it different from the second week? That's how you'll start learning yourself with this. And then before you know it, you back walking the block again, walking around the block just to get that exercise going.
Right. I totally perfect words of wisdom. Usually it takes someone who's gone through things to um see a different light besides like the condition in itself,
Mm-hmm.
because we all know we still have to live. We still want to enjoy, okay, some of this life
Absolutely.
that we got. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? And some
Yes.
people, they do get in a bubble, understandably, but very, very good words. So
Thank you.
I kind of want to go back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you said your aunt also had this condition.
Mm-hmm.
So could this be a hereditary situation, or it's just a coincidence that, someone else in your family had this?
So I'm, to be truthfully honest, I don't, I was always told that it wasn't hereditary,
Mm-hmm.
but as I got older and then I started, I just actually started doing a lot more after 2015. There are so many different forms of myasthenia gravis. I didn't know it was that many. I didn't even know it was negative. You can have it, but and be negative with it. Congenital. I mean, it was. I think I counted maybe 8 or 9 different forms of myasthenia gravis. So I I don't honestly couldn't I couldn't even answer that. I don't know, but two people, if it's not if they say it's not hereditary, two people in the family won't have it, and that she was my mom's baby sister.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. i
Like, you just
I
don't
don't
know,
think
right?
anybody knows.
Yeah, you just don't know. It's funny because I know for multiple myeloma. That was a question that I had asked earlier on. Is this like something hereditary? Even though I knew no one in my family had it. And then they're like, oh, it's not hereditary. However, I don't think sometimes they do know,
No,
okay, and so they need to know, if that makes any sense. So
absolutely.
now I feel like not long ago that I was reading something about the whole hereditary possibility, but child, sometimes it kind of is what it is, because you ask the questions like how, who, what, where, and
Mm-hmm.
for some reason we don't get the clear cut answer of how did this happen, you know.
Yeah.
So let me go back to, because I know you did speak about it, you know, enjoying life and all of that. But what is like your go-to thing to do that makes you feel some form of, I have
Um,
normalcy, but I don't even want to say normalcy, but yeah, some form of, child, I'm not sick today. Okay, I'm feeling like I can, you know, jump out a helicopter or something, but don't do that.
well, that is on my bucket list. I really do want to jump out of a plane and get in a helicopter and all of that. But um, honestly, when I'm just like, it's I have my son, him and
Mhm.
I, or people think he's my brother, honestly. But and then we fight like brother and sister.
Oh my God,
But
that's too cute.
him and I are out. We travel together. I go out with my friends. I have friends come over to the house. Um, I just do stuff like whatever I'm in a mood to do. That's what I do. Is no set thing. If I get up and say, you know what, I think I might go uh go take a drive somewhere. I'll do that, or pop up at one of my friends' houses or something. Like I just sometimes I pretty much just go where the wind blows me.
Mhm. And that's sometimes the best way to do spontaneous and just go and do, you know, sometimes you have like the best time
Oh,
with doing that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, what is a pep talk that you give yourself when your body, you know, we're talking about, you know, you're doing and enjoying life, but sometimes the body does what it does. So, what is a pep talk that you give yourself when your body is getting ready to trigger?
I tell myself like, all right, Tasha, don't nobody got time to be in no hospital. That's the one thing that I say to myself, and
Mhm.
even my friends and my family say the same thing. Like, hey, go lay there. We do not have time for you to be in no hospital because the if I go, the one of the treatments that I would get is called plasmapheresis. So it's kind of if you think of how dialysis works, that's how that is,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
it's a 5-part treatment, but it's every other day. So that's like 10, 11 days in the hospital. I do not have time for that.
Ooh.
I got stuff to do, so and then plus the hospital don't have all your cable channels that you watch at home. So I really don't have time to go to no hospital. They don't cook like I cook. They don't cook like my mama. I am not. So when I know that I need to sit down and rest, I my caregiver makes sure that everything is in order before my house shuts down. My son, hey mom, you need anything else before I go to bed? And I'm like, no, I'm okay. And I'm out. I make sure I am that's that time that I block off and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna do anything this day. Let me get myself back on track. But I will get a shirt that says, Tasha, we do not have time to go to no hospital. But that is my pep talk. Don't nothing else matters but that saying right there.
Right. I love it. You know, and I love the fact that you listen to your body, you know, so you really got to be, and I think a lot of people, when they are diagnosed with whatever the condition is, after a while you learn, because I know for your story, you were very young. So I can imagine for a young child trying to understand your body is doing this craziness and you're not really understanding. But as you mature and really understand your condition and to really listen to your body, to know when to give yourself that self-care, that
Mm-hmm.
that says a lot. I think sometimes a lot of us, even me sometimes, just keep going and going and going, and your body is like, okay, it's
Mm-hmm.
getting ready, things get ready to happen, you need to like take a breather. So I think that's wonderful that you're so engaged to know and to sit down. And plus that hospital stay, girl, that doesn't sound fun.
When I say I do not have time, I am, and it's now I will say that the hospital that I go to, the one thing that I love about it, they have their gift shop is like top tier. Like they got penny candy there. That's the only reason that, like, if my doctor says, well, you have to come, and I will make sure that they got the candy down there. But other than that, you know what? I can't, my son is always worried, and that's one thing that
Right,
I can't tell somebody, what, don't worry.
right.
That's just the human side of us. But just knowing that, he got me, I got him, um, that that alone, keeps me, like, okay, Tasha, let's get it together.
Hmm.
Or he'll say, Mama, go lay down. I got it. So he is always my motivation. My faith is always my motivation to make sure that I keep myself in check. Um, we've had a situation where him and I went out of town and we brought in 2018, and I ended up finding out I've never been allergic to anything, but
Hmm.
like I said, when I came out of remission, like a lot of stuff changed. So I'm now allergic to smoke, and it's any kind of smoke, from barbecue smoke, fire smoke, um, people smoking, all of that. So I was that triggered me from someone smoking, and he was, a few years younger, and he woke up to, I lost my voice, I couldn't talk at all. He woke
Whoa.
up to, yes, EMTs and the fire department in our hotel room. So I live in St. Louis. We were on vacation in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina,
Hmm.
like away from my mom. So we started teaching him about myasthenia gravis. I want to say about 4 or 5 years old. So from the, what I have, the meds and all of that stuff. So because I couldn't talk, I had to wake him up. So he was like, well, what's going on? So I had to write it down, for him. So he was able to articulate everything that myasthenia gravis medications, this is her doctor, things like this. So with me, all of us teaching him, it just benefits all of us all together. So that's why I keep myself in check, because I don't want him to be like, you know what, I need to call 911 for my mom.
Right. Wow. That's scary.
It
I can
is.
imagine. And I've kind of been there. That's the worst kind of feeling, to be sick when you are, away. Okay.
Because I was
That's
like,
not
I want my mama.
awesome. And I know it's so funny that you said that, because I remember when we did meet, okay, you spoke very highly of your mother and
Yeah.
your dependence on her. And so it's cool to hear that, that bond there, and I got your back and you got mine. So that's
Hmm.
wonderful.
I was
So
actually sick when we met.
I think, yeah, I think you did maybe had said something slightly or something. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Or was that a secret?
No,
Or
I
maybe I
wasn't
just
feeling
assumed that
well,
you
and
wasn't feeling well.
I was congested it real bad, and I got back to the room. I was like, I gotta call my mama. I was like, I need my mama right now. Yeah, I was so congested, and I was like, oh no, but yeah, I can't get sick like that again. I refuse.
Right, right. Like I said, after a while, when you have a chronic condition, whatever it may be, you learn. Some things don't come right off the bat, but you learn, and you're very mindful of what's the trigger gonna be. Okay,
Yeah.
so the smoke thing, that's very interesting. Where
Yeah, and that
that
was
wasn't
new
an
to me.
issue, now that's an issue.
Yeah, that
That
was new. Because my mom barbecued all the time. I had absolutely no problem being around smoke, or if it was like a fire or something in the area, the smoke smell is in the air.
Mhm.
Not a problem. But now the first thing that happens, I start coughing and then I start losing my voice.
So, okay, so let's delve a little bit into that. Do
Mhm.
you like wear a mask? Like how do you go around that? Because sometimes you don't know when the smoke is going to be happening. So, what do you do?
I, honestly, nothing for real. When that happened, I had to, because my throat was, I had to go to the emergency room. I don't even know the name of the hospital, but
Mm,
the doctor looked at my throat and he said that my throat was swollen and extremely red. So I had to take a very high dosage of prednisone. I hate steroids. I think everybody hates
yeah,
it.
they do.
But yeah, it's something that, I really can't avoid. Going to the store, people outside smoking, I just pretty much hurry up
Mhm.
and walk away or walk around them. But it's one of those things, that one I have absolutely no control over.
Right, right. That's crazy. I learned so much talking to you, Tasha. I think more so than
Thank
when we
you.
met. Okay.
Oh,
So,
it's a lot that I have done and, experienced, and like I said, all after 2015, like I have a trauma story. Like it really, it can get really deep with me, but I enjoy this, and I never knew how much of a people person that I was going to become. I prayed and I just asked God for direction on what I'm supposed to do. And ironically, it took me going to the hospital to figure it out, but I'm grateful for that. All of the connections that I've made, just the different stories. I'm amazed at how everybody functions daily, holds down a household. Some people are able to work, and it's I enjoy it. I adore it, and anything that I can share from my life, that's when I do. I created the nonprofit.
that's wonderful. Do you want to speak a bit about that?
Yeah, so the nonprofit is called My Walk with MG, and that name came to me. I was again in the hospital,
Mm,
and because we are all different, and they call it the snowflake disease. Snowflakes are all different, so we all have our own individual walk with it, and that's where the name came from.
okay.
Um, and I started small, and I am 5 years in now. I went public in 2019, and I did all of that. I went back to college in 2017,
Amen.
and from my hospital bed, I was doing my assignments, and then I was creating content to post. And I just made a Facebook page, didn't publish it, but I was just adding things to it. And I promised myself going back to school was something that I wanted to finish, and I did it. And instead of 4.5 years, I did it in 3. But I worked through the hospital, I worked through treatments, and This nonprofit has connected me with so many amazing people in the myasthenia gravis community, um, even internationally.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm praying that the reach grows bigger. I want it to be bigger than I could possibly even imagine.
It will. It will because of you
Thank
and others like
you.
you. You know, I feel advocates, I think we all rock,
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
because we're voices for those who may not have a voice, and I just had a conversation not long ago, whether it's a vocal platform, because
Hmm.
not everybody want to, may do exactly how we're going about it, but just that whole conversation and vocal with your doctor is like a
Hmm.
start of advocacy. So with that said, what parting words would you like to tell those that are perhaps newly diagnosed?
So, again, what I always tell everybody, um, take absorb the information that your doctor just told you. It's going to take time to accept what myasthenia gravis is and that you have it, and that's fine. That is okay. Take all the time that you need. There's no time limit on it. Express your emotions. Our emotions are tied into our illness. So though that's a trigger, a negative trigger. Um, you're going to go through a grieving process. Have it. Let it out. Don't hold it in. Journal. Find you a chronic illness therapist. I see a therapist monthly. Um,
Okay, good.
very big on mental health because life in general takes a toll on everybody. So
Mhm.
when you have that part and then you add on a health issue, and it's sometimes it's not even one health issue, it's multiple. So that grieving process, please have it. I had mine, I was a teenager. And get help in that grief process. And once you get through the grief process, you'll get to the acceptance. And then once you get to the acceptance, you'll get to the point where you'll say, you know what? Let me get this together. I got this. I'm going to get back to this. I'm going to get back to that, or I'm going to do. Make you a list of things that you want to do and then achieve one at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. Write down the good days, write down the bad days, write down those days that you want to throw a rock at a window and shatter it. But always express yourself. Don't hold it in. Um, and if you feel that you don't have that support, send me a message. I got you.
There you go. I
I
love that.
will, I will type. I will, you can call me. That's me. Um, I love helping people. I love people. I love the world. I love my MG community. And you know, when a cure comes, so someone we might not be here, but that's okay.
Mhm.
We survived it. We kicked this butt. So we got this.
You truly do. You truly do. I so appreciate you, Tasha, and all of the work that you're doing in your
Thank you.
community. It's it's awesome.
Thank you.
Like you said, any type of advocacy is like a good thing. The voice for the people. So
Yeah.
that's like wonderful. So where can viewers follow you and learn more about your advocacy?
So you can find me. I am on Instagram. My Walk with MG. Facebook, My Walk with MG. Excuse me. My website is mywalkwithmg.org. I'm actually in the middle of planning an awareness event for June. June is our awareness month. So everybody can be on the lookout for those details. and it's an activity that everybody all over the world can be a part of. So yeah, those details will be coming out soon. And yeah, I'm on even on TikTok, which I'm really trying to get with this. So I'm gonna get some of these kids to help me get that together. But so far so good. I think I'm doing okay. But yes, I'm on TikTok. But I'll all of my information is in my Instagram bio, and I'll be updating some stuff so everybody can find me. You can send a message. I send whatever information that you need on the things that we do in the two programs that we have within the nonprofit.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for
No,
having
thank
this
you.
conversation, educating people, because that's kind of what it's about, you know, educating people who didn't even know about different conditions.
Yes.
So you're very appreciative, or appreciated, I should say.
No, thank you so much.
You are so welcome. So thank you guys for joining us this Friday. Again, happy Good Friday, happy Easter coming up and all of that good stuff. The replays will be up shortly, and we'll talk again, Tasha.
Absolutely.